In this video, we're going to build the upper cage for the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro G2 and the full-frame L-mount camera, which is what we have here. The kit comes with a top portion of the cage with 2 long screws, the middle portion with the HDMI and USB lock installed, the lower portion with 2 smaller screws. We have lens support adapter pieces, 2 15mm rods with mounting points on them, and 3 HDMI inserts, which we'll talk about later. And some kits include the AB6, which we have here, and we'll talk about that at the end. To start, we'll take the bottom portion of our cage and the side, align the locating points there, and then use the smaller screws to attach it and screw it in with a 4mm Allen wrench. We can leave those a little loose and come back and tighten them up at the end. Next, we'll install this on the bottom of the camera. So we'll want to align these 2 locating pin holes with the locating pins that are on the base of the cage. Then we'll take our 4mm Allen wrench and tighten the 2 screws into the camera body. And we can get these fairly tight again and then come back later and fully secure them. Okay, now for the top, make sure this thumb screw's out of the way. There's 2 locating points here that will fit onto the cage. And in this case, since we're using the L-mount camera, this comes installed in this location. So this is good for the L-mount camera. If you're using the 6K Pro or the G2, you'll loosen these 2 screws and move the adapter up to the front set of holes. So we'll align that. Tighten the camera screw a little bit first. Then we'll add the 2 longer black screws. Okay, now we'll go back and snug all the cage screws and the camera screws up. Next, we can add our 15mm accessory rods. So we'll slide that in, lock the thumb screw. Then we'll do the one over here. And since we have the AB6 in some configurations, we'll go ahead and add that now. So there's a recess here with a striped pattern, and that corresponds with the shape of the AB6 here. So we'll use our 4mm Allen wrench and tighten this screw down. Now we can install the accessory rod into the 15mm rod clamp, and we'll just clamp that for now, and we'll come back and adjust that later. But we'll route the cable around the top plate and in between the EVF channel and the top plate. We'll come down over the side of the camera body here. We'll tuck it under the HDMI clamp there, and then we'll just install it into the camera body here. You'll notice that both the cover for the HDMI and the Mini XLR have been removed, and it's good to do that before installing this because it's hard to access otherwise. Now we have this cable excess here, and there's a neat little trick you can do, which is to actually wind the cable around this rod so you can get rid of a little bit of the excess there. Okay, next we can add our lens support posts in the front. So if you're using a lens adapter, you'll use the 3mm Allen wrench here, loosen these 2 screws, and slide the lens support tray out to wherever the foot corresponds to that center hole there. So you can just snug these up, and then let's say we need the long extension here. We'll drop it through that hole, thread that into our lens adapter, and then tighten this front screw. And then we can snug these up again. Okay. Next, we can talk about the HDMI on the side. So there are a variety of sizes of HDMI cable, and these adapters here accommodate the different sizes. So, for example, this cable here fits natively into the HDMI lock, and you can tighten the thumb screw. If you have a smaller cable, like this one, you can use an adapter. And so they're labeled 8, 9, and 10, and that's just the opening size in the adapter itself. So I believe this one is about a 9, so we can check the fit. That's good. And you'll see that there's a recess here, and that corresponds to the side with the thumb screw. So you just snap that in. And this is retained in here. You can remove it, it's not that hard. But it won't fall out if you're shooting without the HDMI cable installed, so you won't lose it. But we do give you 2 of each, just in case. So you can drop this in, and then tighten the thumb screw to lock it in place. To use this ARCA dovetail on the RS2, we can loosen these 2 screws and turn the dovetail sideways. So we'll unlock this, and then we can rotate this sideways. There's locating pins here, so you can pick the screw hole that you want depending on the balance of the rig, so you can offset it in either direction, and then just lock this back down in the sideways configuration.